Hello everybody, welcome back to another video from HSTV, and in today's video, as you can see by the video title, I'm going to be showing you some digital note-taking tips. Now, I have been digitally note-taking at medical school for the past 3 to 4 years now, and I believe I've now started to get the hang of things. So I hope I can share some of these tips with you guys so you can really see the potentials of the future of note-taking. Now, before we get right into it, the first tip really is to get yourself a good device for note-taking. For me, I've been using Samsung's Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, and it's been a life changer of a tool. And if you've been following the channel, you will know that I've done lots of work on it. So this is going to be the device I'm going to be demonstrating the tips on today. And yeah, I hope you like the video. So firstly, I just want to start off by saying that just because you're now taking digital notes doesn't mean that you can't do handwritten notes, and apps like Samsung Notes are brilliant for this, at least on Android. You can see here that I took many notes in my first few years of medical school that were all handwritten, especially summary notes, and I'll get on to that later on. But remember that there's lots of potential out there to make great handwritten notes, and you should definitely make the most of it because it is truly a unlimited toolkit, and there is more potential there than what's in your pencil case. But also remember, because you are now taking digital notes, the chances are you'll want to take some typed notes too. And this is great if you're studying clinical medicine. For example, I use Notion for a lot of my note taking nowadays, and it's great for typed notes. Lots of potential here too, much better than just stacking Word documents. So I'd highly recommend looking into a cross-platform app like Notion, where you can use toggle features to help you revise and test yourself, as well as being able to add images and websites and lots more. So really make the most of the apps available on your devices so that you can maximize digital note-taking. Remember to make lots of mind maps. They are possibly the best method of note-taking and for revision as well. They don't have to look as aesthetically pleasing as this. You could make something quick and simple as well. But honestly, mind maps are a brilliant way to get your thoughts down and really piece information together, see the bigger picture so that you can do better in your exams. Everyone says that digital note-taking should be more efficient than handwritten notes that you take on paper. So make sure you make the most of your shortcut features. For example, if you're using Samsung's Tab S7 Plus or the other tablets that come with the S Pen button, when you make a favorites bar of pens on Samsung Notes, you can actually switch between pens at a much quicker pace than if you were to go back each time just by simply pressing the button. For example, here we have the blue pen. Clicking on the button, we now have the black pen. Clicking on the button again, we have the red pen. If you wish to erase, rather than every time going and clicking on the erase button, you could stay on your pen and then just press and hold the button on the S Pen, and now you are able to erase. Make the most of these shortcuts. Digitally note-taking doesn't always mean that you have to make notes from scratch. You have many features such as being able to import PDF slides, and this is great for university work because, for example, here I can upload a PDF slide and then I can annotate these slides, and this is another great method of note-taking because it means I can just listen into the lecturer and annotate where needed, so I don't actually have to copy information down, handwritten or typed. So make sure that you make the most of this feature. One of the most important rules of digital note-taking is good organization, and this is something that paper notes you can really struggle with. So for example, here on Notion I have proper sections of studying, a to-do list, and then a revision board as well, which helps me keep track of which topics I need to go over. Within each of the specialties that I have been taking notes on, you can see I have really nice pages that are distinctly laid out. Within these pages, I have all the different conditions relating to each part of this system, and within them I can toggle the feature and then I can actually revise as well. Remember that there's no need to stick to one single app when you are doing digital note-taking. For example, when I was learning ECGs, I had this page on ECGs that I made on Notion. This is my main source for referring and going back to ECG content. However, when I was just getting into things, I needed something handwritten. Therefore, I used Samsung Notes for a lot of my base level work. Let me give you a little tour just here. You can have a look that I started off doing simple handwritten diagrams like this before I was ready to move on to making official type notes that I would be able to refer to afterwards. Even now when I get confused, I refer back to this handwritten stage because it just helps me go through that process again. So definitely be aware of that. Now, these two aren't the only apps that you can use. For example, I use Flexel as well all the time for textbooks. So I think that Flexel is a great app for PDF marking. And this is why I think it's so important that you make the most of the apps available and there's no need to stick to just one. And remember that PDFs aren't the only type of file that you can add into your notes. You can add things like videos, for example, in Notion. Then in Samsung Notes, you can add, even things like audio recordings as well as you go on. So there's plenty of potential for you to add things into your notes to take them to that next level that you wouldn't normally be able to if you were just taking paper notes. And remember, one of the great things about digital notes is that they are accessible to not only you, but for you to share to your friends as well. So for example, in Samsung Notes, we can export our notes as a PDF file, a Word file, or an image file, so that no matter if they have Samsung Notes or not, your friends can also have a look at your notes. Now, there is another beta function on Samsung Notes at the moment where you can actually collaborate on notes as well. This is something that this is not always possible to do on paper notes. Similar sort of thing with Notion as well, where you can actually share and collaborate on your entire Notion pages. So do take advantage of this, and this way you can do lots of group learning and group studying so that you can all help each other out. Alright everybody, well that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you have found this useful and you can go away and try to use some of these tips that I've spoken about today. It doesn't matter if you're in high school or university or at work, whatever you're doing, this is the more effective, more efficient way forward, and it's so important that we adapt to these new methods. So let me know what you think down in the comments and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.